Wait, what?
I mean, can you install your homemade barrels on your PC cockpit?
Dual Barrett?
Yeah, I have retouched your picture. Looks like this.
Yeah, I like this idea.
Are you sure?
Usually a pistol or a MAC-10. It's not impossible to hold Barrett dual, but as far as that sounds, a little strange.
I think M2HB is more suitable.
Yes, compared to others, M2HB is a better choice.
But two M2HB machine guns are worth at least $90,000.
Yeah, so cheap.
Can you design it? Are you sure?
Yep, it's not difficult. And instead of modifying the previous PC cockpit, it's better to redesign a new cockpit.
If it's true, I hope it can appear in my next video.
And I also want one. I have 100 million fans.
How long does it take? I mean, manufacturing it.
I see it now.
欢迎来到克洛伊斯实验室，我是阿布。
This now, it's been 3 months. This episode has a lot of work to do, so I won't say much. Now put on the steel plate and import drawings.
And start cutting.
This is the first one to be cut out, is the side plate of M2HB. Take a look at all the data for just this steel plate. There are still hundreds of items, like this.
Let's go.
The first cut was made on July 30th. The first steel plate contains many small pieces. Of course, there are still 8 steel plates to be cut. Beside it, there are parts for Scorpion and Manticore in normal production. Cut slowly, and let's hurry up to the next step.
这切的什么呀？你看呢？Ados to happy birthday. Heavy barrel.
This heavy barrel weighs 33 pounds, but I must explain. This is solid, completely solid. The 2 ends are just blind holes. Only this, the barrel support, is hollow. Accelerate. Next is... Now start welding the main body of the cockpit. In this issue, it is not the protagonist, so speed up. After all, these steps are similar to other models in previous videos. New audience, if interested, can review my more detailed previous videos. It must be explained that, for the sake of video rhythm, I only welded a few dots on each steel plate. But during subsequent welding, my workers need to weld dozens of welding points on each steel plate. And overall, approximately 10,000 solder joints are required. So, although it seems fragile at the moment, but after welding, it is actually extremely sturdy. After all, for a long time, I have never lacked users weighing 200 to 400 pounds. Currently, several large parts of the main body have been welded. You should know that this 1 minute, I actually filmed for 4 hours. I am exhausted. And then,
The protagonist appears.
welding and polishing of over 200 components. The workload is much larger than it seems. Just skip the step. Now anodize these M2HB parts and assemble the main body that has been spray painted. These components will be detailed later when unpacking and assembly, so I won't talk much. Because I have a lot to say next, so much.
热死我了。上机枪
Start installing from the gun barrel support first. Next, barrel extension and barrel extension chute. It is the key to the automatic principle of recoil operation. It is also the breech lock cap, rear side base, retracting slide bracket, and retracting slide, rear, front, lock, blot and driving spring. The driving spring of M2HB looks very thin. It looks similar to what Mach 10 uses, because M2HB has a powerful recoil operation system. But only looking at the bolt part, nothing can be seen. There are over 100 components that together form an organic whole. For example, this pin that connects the bolt and the bolt handle. Obviously, this is a lever. Otherwise, many people won't be able to pull it and unlock it. There is the solid wood pulling handle. The combination of solid wood and steel, it is the sole texture of firearms in an era. Buffer group. Control the recoil operation of the gun barrel. Breech lock. 0.02 seconds after firing. Use it to lock the bolt, causing the barrel and bolt to strike backwards together in the locked state. And accelerator of the bolt. At the moment when the barrel is at the bottom, this accelerator is hit and quickly throws the bolt backwards. Then it locked the barrel in the furthest back position until the bolt rebounds and hits the accelerator again. And then it was thrown out again, like this. This is the effect of driving spring. Additionally, I have omitted this backup track switch here. This is quite troublesome. And here, the firing pin compresses the lever and moves like this. And the internal firing pin system. These are absolutely unacceptable. The front is also blocked. There must be no firing pin. So, only the belt-fed systems is retained. And shell ejection system. Now, install the gun barrel. I must repeatedly emphasize, the center of this gun barrel, it is solid. The holes on both sides are only a dozen centimeters deep. You can see it from here. It is solid. The barrel is ultimately screwed onto the barrel extension base. In sequence, install the base, buffer, and bolt. Then insert the recoil spring here in such a fragile way. But it is indeed fixed like this. And next, it's the back grip plate group. This is back plate latch lock and latch. And solid wood grip. This Y-shaped one is the trigger button of M2HB. This small one is the bolt latch release. By using these two linkages, the bolt system can be controlled. Of course, this is not a shooting. This is just the release of the hold open. I didn't even add a shooting function. Now install the handle and fasten the lock. And start installing the belt supply system. This is bullet belt holding pole. Then there's the cover assembly and belt feed pole and belt feed lever. The tail of this belt feed lever stuck in the chute. As the bolt moves forward and backward, it also moves left and right, and it drives the loading of the bullet bolt one by one. Finally, install the gun barrel. You should know that in actual combat, for every 300 to 500 rounds fired, the M2HB needs to replace the overheated barrel. To avoid scalding hands, gun barrels are usually equipped with handles. As for my one, doesn't matter, it's not hot. Now, if you want to perform all automated continuously, you can imagine a heavy hammer, and hitting the muzzle with force. Then the heavy hammer continued to strike with muzzle recoil. This is the automatic principle of recoil operation.
怎么样? How does it look?
The standard M2HB gun body weight is 84.2 pounds. Let me weigh it. 36.15 kilograms. Equivalent to 79.7 pounds. Slightly lighter, I know, because I cancelled some internal components to ensure that there is absolutely no shooting ability and no modify the space.
Now try shooting from the shoulder. It is 1.65 meters long. It's a bit laborious. So put on the straps, get hipfire kills.
It's much easier this way. Now install dual machine guns. This set weighs 165 pounds. Normally, I should get a tripod now, but even without mentioning the large dual tripod, just the most common M3 tripod, it's worth $3,499, which is equivalent to the retail price of my entire M2HB in the US. So, I'll use my flash tripod as a temporary replacement. It feel not bad. When I have time, I will also produce the M3 tripod.
That's it? Of course not.
UGCP, Unmanned Ground Combat Platform. Of course, real UGCP often costs hundreds of thousands of dollars and more. This is just I casually played with, using the ready-made tracked chassis of my Gatling cockpit. Compared to Unitree's combat robot dog, I'm just a fighter jet in the trash. But I will spare some time to develop a more formal UGV specifically.
But for this video, it is obviously seriously off topic. So,
let's return to the theme. My M2 PC-cockpit is equipped with two M2HB as a load-bearing beam electrically adjustable heavy-duty screen systems, like this. Of course, soon I will also release a regular version without a machine gun. Next, we will begin the unboxing process for the entire machine. This is the packaging box for the M2HB. I know it looks big, but don't worry. All of my clients unpack outdoors and then move them separately. I need to explain, actually this is the high box version. There is also a low box version, but the high box version is more convenient to install.
So, start unpacking.
Although it is indeed heavy, it can be disassembled with a knife. So I don't recommend, like in my previous video, use RPG, rocket shell, and mortar shell to unpack. Now, you can see many individual accessories, foot pedals, armrests, storage boxes, ammunition boxes, and M2HB. We will provide a detailed introduction later. For example, the machine gun will be installed here. Chassis width 2.1 feet, length 3.9 feet. That is to say, it can enter the vast majority of doors and elevators. So easy.
as for the weight of 330 pounds.
Indeed, this is part of the cost.
Let's talk about something lighthearted, like this adjustable small headrest, and adjustable angle and focal length of the small lights, and two small speakers, which can replace headphones at appropriate volumes. After all, people who wear headphones all year round are aware of that kind of pain. These are the two data cables of the audio system, and HDMI and DP cables, and optional power plugs with different national standards. After all, in the past decade, I have already sold to 80% of countries around the world. Okay, back to topic. Ready to install. And these accessories are easy. Let's start with the foot pedal. Just buckle them together and lock them with one screw. Then there are the chassis side wheels, and one on each side. Next is the armrest. After inserting it, and tighten it with screws. has a sliding cover on top and a cup holder underneath. On the other side of the sliding cover, there are two 200 by 300mm mouse pads hidden. The screws here can adjust the height of the armrest, and there, it's used to secure the storage box, where you can put some snacks. And this, a grill for storing small miscellaneous items. Now, it's time for the screen cantilever, in conjunction with two heavy machine guns. It bears the weight of 1, 3, or 5 screens together.
So, now install machine guns.
To be honest, apart from being heavy, the machine gun is surprisingly easy to installation. So much so that one of M2HB can be dismantled at any time to play, and it won't affect normal use. Now find 3 5-meter long DP cables and a front power strip from here, and these 3 sets of pole position mattresses, and the side screen fixed wing, and 3 screens with back hanging holes. The vast majority of screens worldwide have VSA standard back mounting holes on their backs. M2 can mount 3 21-34-inch screens. This is the side wing slider, used to adapt to different screen widths. And by replacing it, can further support 5 screens. For a more detailed introduction, you can watch my previous videos. Okay, after aligning the corners, the screen installation is complete. Plug in the video cable and power cable. Immediately install the keyboard and mouse. The keyboard tray can clamp a keyboard of normal size. And insert the USB cables for the mouse and keyboard into this hidden USB hub. And let's have a cola. And finally, install the computer host. At the rear, the internal dimensions of the computer cabinet are 25 inches wide, 5.5 inches high, and 11 inches deep. That means as long as you don't plan to use a commercial server, it can accommodate 95% of computer hosts. And so spacious.
啊，经过半小时的组装，终于组装好了，只剩最后一步。2个100发容量的15 BMG 开送。
You know, if in the US civilian market, 200 bullets of 50 BMG are worth over $1,000.
So I must emphasize clearly, I never provide ammunition.
The M2 cockpit only contains 2 empty ammunition boxes.
After all, these 30-kilogram bullets are worth 1/3 of the price of my M2 cockpit. Fortunately, as the most widely used machine gun bullet in the world is easily available in many countries. Of course, I use these myself, just empty shell casings with projectile nose loaded, and paired with my own made steel belts. Now install the belt. Open the belt feed top cover.
Retracting slide handle and bolt.
And feeding belts. The same is true on the other side. Based on Dr. Green's modifications, all M2HB support to side ammunition feeding.
哦，这恼人的 poke 声 ，like Foley in my heart。哦 ，OK， 先不筛机枪了，现在测试一下选配的语音控制模块。Yes, voice control.
Cluvens, I use voice command. 开膛 Yes, commander. 这台 M2 作为本款的第一台宫廷相机，达到这个效果，我已经很满意了。
Yes, this shot was taken earliest, the first engineering prototype. The previous processing step was actually filmed later, about the number 2, number 3, until number 8. And by the time I finished editing the video, it was already the end of November. Now, after 4 consecutive improvements, the M2HB has already been mass-produced normally. So I'm moving back to my house to use for myself. Next, I need a beautiful model girl. I'm so fat sitting on it. It will affect the product image. So, I will transport a few M2 cockpits from my factory located in the suburbs. Transport back to my city, Jinan, an ordinary second-tier city in China. I am planning, place them separately in shopping malls, office buildings, cybercafe, and even on the roadside. Paired with a model girl to capture the reactions of passers-by. I think it should be quite interesting. So, goodbye to the next episode of The Cluvens Lab.